But you're a big disappointment. Maybe you'll like them for the camera? Oh my goodness. Welcome one and all to the semi-annual reptile feeding here on my channel. Today we're going to be feeding a ton of incredible species, and you know what that means. You guys get to come along for the ride. This isn't your normal feeding all my pets video. This is going to be one of these special occasions that the reptiles in the room get to feed on one of their favorite prey sources, which just so happens to be hornworms, silkworms, and all the other foods that all the reptiles love here in the reptile room. Let's get into it. But those of you who watch the reptile room tours, you'll notice some of the reptiles are actually missing from this video, and that's because most of our reptiles are actually in brumation. About half of our entire reptile room, that's 50 animals, are in brumation right now, so you'll not be seeing many mice being fed in this video, but what you will be seeing is plenty of action, plenty of fun, and of course, a lot of incredible reptiles. If this is your first time stumbling on my channel, welcome. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Feel free to leave a like if you are hyped for this video. And I have a ton of cool things to show you guys in this video. As I mentioned, we're going to be feeding hornworms and silkworms to the animals that will eat it. And then the rest of the animals that might be a little too small, like the tachydermis behind me, you'll see eating their normal diet. But this is the video where I get to show you guys everything, all the processes, all of the fun that goes into looking after the reptiles, you get to see in this video. You'll be able to see around me the variety of various different enclosures that we have set up. We are always working here, but one of the main things that has to happen every single week, multiple times, is feeding the entire reptile room. Let's get started with some beautiful hornworms and to those who are going to eat them. I did just want to say a quick thank you to Try Treats for sponsoring this video. If you guys are interested in checking them out, I'll leave the links in the description. You'll see more about them later in the video. First things first though, we gotta get them in the cup and then give them a little shake and bake with some calcium. Give them a light swirl, and now they're ready for feeding. And the frogs are now awake and ready for some food. Obviously, we're going to be feeding Gumby first, the largest. She also gets the largest hornworm we have, so fingers crossed this goes smoothly. No. Pandemonium is already starting. Come on. There you go. Nice. A big meal, really. I don't know how I'm gonna swallow this. Look at that specimen. Took that hornworm like a boss. What do you say we get to these guys? The one launched himself into the bed. I'm not sure if I caught that on camera, but he flew across the tank. You got it, buddy. Hang in there. You got it. Well, that was worth its weight in hornworms, that's for sure. Now that you're paying attention, hornworms are a fantastic treat for your reptiles. They offer the most benefit with overall hydration. They're about 85% water, about 9 to 10% protein, and then the rest is not a whole significant amount of fat and other things. So they're a great option for feeding, especially if your animal needs to put on a little bit of weight. Hornworms are the perfect option for them. I think it is important to try and feed the turtles. Typically, they hate variety in their diet. I don't know what it is. I raised them eating a bunch of different stuff, but ever since the beginning, they just didn't like a whole bunch of different worms. The hornworms, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yes. Yeah, now you're stuck with it. Now you gotta eat it. happy with it, or? I mean, I guess she ate it. I'm actually so excited. I'm pretty sure that's her first time eating something like a hornworm, silkworm, anything like that. But you're a big disappointment. But how could you not love that face? Now, just before we go on to feeding the baby Tachydramus right behind me his first hornworm, I'm curious to see if they'll be able to eat them because the hornworms are super soft-bodied. I think it's time to have a snack for myself with the sponsor of today's video, Try Treats. Basically, these guys are a treat box that you can get a monthly subscription for, and you get a random country sent to you. So why don't we find out together what country I got this time? Oh. So much paperwork. We got Colombia. That is very fitting, and I'll be eating their food in about 3 months from now. Look at all those snacks. Now, while I try and get this bag open, I'm gonna share with you guys how you guys can save 15% off your first subscription box with the code MikeTytula at checkout. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to go check it out. And would you look at that? I got the bag open. These guys are a fantastic option for trying treats from around the world, so make sure you go get your subscription box now, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Oh, they're super airy. Pretty good. That does it for feeding me. You guys can enjoy me feeding all the rest of the reptiles in the room. So let's get going. Not meant for you, but if you can power that down. Oh my goodness. No way. No way. Well, needless to say, I really didn't expect the biggest show to be put on by the little babies behind me, and all the adults are just not interested. I guess it's kind of late, and I have fed them recently, but I think now we can go to somebody who I know loves hornworms, and that is the OG Mr. Striker. Strikerzilla, I got a treat for you. Striker doesn't mess around with these things. Oh, baby. Delicious. Told you he doesn't mess around. Look how happy he is. This time it'll be a silkworm. Dang. Chomping back. Those were two fairly huge worms, so I think that's all we're gonna give them today. And now moving on to silkworms, I've done the same thing, a little bit of shake and bake, and we're gonna feed these to the Chihuahua. Oh, come on. No, don't pull it into the depths. Okay, fine. We can move over here to Mrs. Wallflower. Here, put this over here. She always likes a good meal. There we go. Chihuahua do the like grab and then just hold it for a while. They do that all the time. Awesome. Love to see that. She took that like a champ. Now last but not least, I don't know if you guys can see, that's his eyeball there. This is another unnamed Chihuahua that we actually picked up at Tinley from Sundown Reptiles. Thanks Brandon and Brian. You guys are terrible influences. What we can do. Okay. Not sure if you guys know, but Chihuahua typically ingest more. They need more calcium and more protein than things like Cresties and other Rhacodactyl, well, ex-Rhacodactylus genus, otherwise known as just basically other New Caledonian reptiles. I think it's holding on to his chin. Yep. Wow. Okay. Jeez. Nice. Chihuahuas can be quite savage when they want to be, that's for sure. But he definitely enjoyed his meal. Over here, we have one of our baby Chihuahua that we produced, who's currently available. I just want to remove that little bit of sphagnum, just in case he tries to eat that instead. Oh, wow, didn't even think twice. Nice. See? Little savages. Didn't even move from his hide. He's just like, yep, this is good. And that's part of the reason why we offer these guys such a varied diet, especially when they're young, because it really sets them up for extreme growth rates, which we don't really look for, but we'll happily take. It just teaches them to not only eat Pangea. And now at this point, it's time to hop to the kitchen and prepare all of these salads as well as the Pangea for the entire reptile room. First, we're going to get started with our Pangea Essentials. That is a small portable magic bullet in this case, but any small blender will do, and the dispensing bottle necessary for putting the Pangea in and easily transferring it to the cups. We have the actual Pangea itself mixed with some cricket protein as well as some carotenoids. There's also some spirulina and some bee pollen mixed in as well. And for all those people mixing their Pangea still by hand, why? Why would you do such a thing? If you have more than 1 or 2 animals, this is well worth your investment and will save you so much time in the long run. First, fill your cup with water, then get a scoop of Pangea, then dump the Pangea into the water, screw the lid on, throw it on the magic bullet. Honestly, you can pretty much do it in that exact amount of time. It's that easy. I forgot the last step. Once it's finished blending, pour it into your dispenser bottle and you're good to go. Normally, I show you guys the entire process of cutting lettuce and veggies and fruits and all that stuff. I'm gonna save you guys the headache and just show you guys my favorite part of the kitchen prep, and that is this beautiful food processor. This thing cuts down prep time at least in half. Watch how easy it is. We just roughly chop the veggies that are harder to shred and put them in, click go, and just like that in a few seconds, it's finished. And now let's get to feeding some Pangea. Starting off with laying out all the dishes. And of course, filling them is made so much easier with the squirt bottle. I know I've said it a million times, but trust me guys, this is a lifesaver. And now for actually feeding the animals Pangea. I would love to go around and feed every single animal, but that would make this video about 5.5 hours long. And frankly, there's not enough time when we return from work to make that function. So I'm just gonna go ahead, place all the Pangea in here. And if I get any shots of them eating whilst I'm going around through the rest of the room, then I'll show you guys, but it's really self-explanatory. Plop the Pangea in there and they enjoy. We fed the Chihuahua, now we can move to the Iridactylotes or the chameleon geckos. Oh, he's just such a cutie. Place it into the dish, and now we can move on to the baby Chihuahua, which typically go after it pretty quickly. There it is, sitting on his branch, waiting his next meal. Delicious Pangea. Before we hop into the salad feeding, I think now is a good time to switch to the cricket. You can see I got the small crickets there, the big crickets here. Let's get to feeding some of the cricket eating boys, and we'll start with our beautiful Leucasium damium. If you guys were ever wondering how we set up our crickets, these are our cricket bins. Lots of airflow, you can see the airflow on the lid as well. Plenty of egg crate, a couple tubes for easy feeding, and then we also have a little chicken feeder or a little kind of quail feeder. I'll leave a link in the description below to everything. We just shove a little cotton ball in there. We only have to fill it about once a week, maybe slightly less. Gotta dust them, of course. This is just Calcium Plus by Repashy. Give them a little shake and bake, and they're good to feed. As I mentioned, these are the Leucasium damium in this tank, as well as Reggie. You can see Reggie chilling over there. He is a Centralian pebble dragon, so like a mini bearded dragon. Really fantastic species that I'm actually hoping we can get a few more of. But, oh, Reggie's on the move. Get it, Reggie. He eats just like a bearded dragon. Plenty and plenty of food. Oh, there's one of the damium. I don't know what it is about Australian geckos. They're terrible at hunting. The dragons, great. But these guys are just, well, real bad, as you can tell. You guys suck. Oh, did I miss one? Aw, you got it, hey? Aw. So cute. We are going to be having a new build for these guys coming out. Slightly larger enclosure, and it's going to be really, really sick. So make sure you keep an eye on the channel for that. Reggie's about to shed. That's why he's all pale looking. Oh, you're about to shed too. You look like a ghost. It's a new morph. I guess some explanation for why Reggie is also in here, because he's been living with this group of Damium his whole life. He was just given to us by one of our good friends, and so we just kept them together. There has been no aggression issues. We're very vigilant for that. Whoa, you actually got one. Nice. Oh. Oh. Pandemonium. Nope. Fail. I guess that'll wrap up the feeding for them, because it looks like they've caught a few crickets. You guys kind of get the idea. And Reggie is now one of the staples of the channel, so you guys can get used to seeing him. Now we can move over to our beautiful girl. She's a Western Shield spiny tail gecko, or Strophrus wellingtoni. Because she's in such an awful spot to film right now, I'm going to see if I can just get her to come out for one little cricket. There we go. You're in a terrible spot there, girly. We'll let her do her thing, but you saw that she ate, and that's what counts. I know I tried to feed the female Tachydromus from our group 2. Still needs a name, by the way. Tried to feed her some hornworms, and she was not interested, but I know she does love some crickets. Oh boy. As you guys can see, we also do feed these guys Pangea from time to time. They love lapping it up. Get it, girly. Heck yeah. Trying to put her some weight on her during the kind of cooler season right now, while the male's not with her. I love watching these guys forage through the leaf litter. It's so cool to see, because they truly will. They'll like stick their heads under little nooks and crannies, trying to flush out any crickets that might be remaining. Now we can move to the Diplodactylus galeatus. These guys are called the helmeted geckos, and they are typically quite a hoot when we're feeding them. These guys are a bit better at grabbing crickets. Well, as I say that, he's proving me wrong. You can see why they're called the helmeted geckos. They have that little kind of black band behind their eyes. Makes them look like they're wearing a helmet. Whoa. There's the last one we have. Aw, so damn cute these guys are. Another Australian gecko, endemic to Australia. We got these guys from Europe. Such a fantastic little gecko. They're not the greatest for holding, but wowzers are they entertaining to watch. Especially when you mist them. They tend to freak out when they're misted. They do lap up the water off the walls, but they definitely don't love it when it first starts coming down. That's gonna wrap it up for these guys. You guys got to see them all. We must move on. And now for these guys, I'm gonna actually end up tongue feeding them, because there's quite an array of different size crickets in the little cricket drawer that I have. These guys are very much ready to indulge in some crickets. Tackies are just the best. They're up there on some of my favorite lizards that I've ever catch. Now for the last few, I'm just going to toss a few in here and they can go nuts. And now that we've seen those babies, we can move to some older babies from an unrelated pair. These guys are just awesome. I love them so much. You guys must be getting sick of me mentioning how much I love Tachydromus dorsalis and just Tachydromus in general. I mean, how can you get enough of these guys? Look at them. They're so cute. They run around. They're active all day, and they're very, very inquisitive. Now, some of my favorite snakes to feed are actually these guys. These are Chianactis occipitalis, or the Western shovel-nosed snake. These guys are cricket eaters. They're insectivorous. They're a blast to feed, so we'll see if we can get some on camera here. it's time to feed the herbivores of the room. That includes the Uromastyx, my tortoise Sheldon, as well as my Fijian banded iguana Tytula. Before we feed them though, we need to prepare their salad, and that just entails mixing all the ingredients together. We have some chopped lettuce of various different kinds. We have the pureed pepper as well as the butternut squash, and of course, we gotta add some calcium to those salads. First up, we have our beautiful Fijian banded iguana Tytula. He typically doesn't eat especially right away, but I'll try and put it kind of close to him. What he'll do... Well, that failed miserably, so we ended up putting it back in there and just placing it on his feeding ledge. That's where we always feed him, but currently he's just eyeballing me. Since we moved him into this enclosure, he's never really taken to the whole like feeding right away thing, so I'm not gonna wait here for him. We gotta feed a whole bunch of other stuff, and let's do so. Oh, what will I eat? He got closer to it. He's so much easier.
Peppers.
Oh, there is meat in here. You can actually eat that, you loser. There we go. Next up, we are moving to feeding Mr. Shellman. I'm sure he'll whip around from there real quickly at the first sight of food and go start horking it back. He'll be done this very, very quickly. Go at tortoise speed. So calculated. He loves squash. He loves everything, really. I think that's enough footage of a tortoise horking back some greens. Now we can move on to Hugo. Now you're up and at 'em. Get it. It's your favorite. It's minced, but it is your favorite. Don't do what I think you're about to do. What? It's not a hide. It's food. And now we can move on to feeding fruit flies, and the first step of that is... we gotta get our fruit flies. We gotta tap them all to one side, then pop open the lid, dump them into the container. Of course, we have to add our vitamins in this case, which is the Repashy Supervite, and then give them a little shake and bake, and they're ready to go. I know one of my favorite things of feeding dart frogs, or frogs in general, is their tongue flapping noise, so I'm just going to leave this completely ASMR so you guys can enjoy the frog tongue flicking. And now moving on from the Fuego, we can move to the newest addition in the frog fam. These are the blue Histrionica. These guys have been one of my dream frogs since about 6 or 7 years ago when I first saw them in person. And man, I'm so happy I got to add them to our collection here. They will not be going anywhere. And fingers crossed, when they move into their new tank, they will be snacking down some fruit flies as well as making some babies. I've now procured the melanogaster, or the small flightless fruit flies, I guess I can call them. We can come to this tank here. You guys can see that I actually have an old culture just sitting in here, and that is for one reason and one reason only, because there are mites and such that populate these cultures. Basically, we'll put that into the tank so that the adults, as well as the recently morphed out babies, I believe there's only one. I'll see if I can find him and put him in this video, but normally he's right up front here. However, not there right now. I'm not gonna toss this in the freezer right away. I'm actually gonna leave the old culture out just in case the little baby's in there. I'm gonna have to rip it apart and just make sure that he's not in there. I highly doubt that we'll actually get any of them on camera just because they are so shy. Oh, I see a little baby. See if I can snipe him. Oh, he's so tiny. I love him. So cute. I don't actually know how many babies I have in this tank. I know I have for sure one. That being said, I do dump springtails in here typically every like 2 to 3 days. Then that makes sure the springtails in this tank don't get entirely depleted. Although chances are in the meantime they are being depleted because these guys love to eat, and I know the parents will also snack on the springtails as well. It doesn't appear the adults are going to make an appearance in this video, unfortunately. We have the Ufaga Pumilio Bastimentos. Their tank is a little worse for wear. I do have another tank built for them, the same size as the other Pumilio I just showed you. Typically the Basties are a little bit more bold, however in this video they were not having it, and unfortunately we didn't actually get to see them, so I'm not going to waste your time. Let's move on. We're going to be feeding the frozen feeders, and today's a special occasion because Bree is going to be trying to feed some of the more problematic feeding hognoses. This is definitely part of the hog breeding side of things that doesn't really get talked about until you're into breeding them, and then there's very little information. So I'll try and share what information I can, but Bree truly is the expert. Unfortunately, she does not want to be on camera right now. Maybe she'll talk and I could just reiterate that. We got a whole assortment of feeders in front of us. We're gonna feed the easy feeding snakes first, and then we'll be feeding some of the more problematic hognoses. So let's get into it. Now that being said, if you guys are squeamish around frozen things,
You're squeamish around frozen things.
You hate frozen waffles.
If you're squeamish around Eggos, don't watch this part.
If you guys are squeamish around frozen rodents or just don't simply want to see that, skip to this time on screen right now. If not, welcome to the frozen feeding portion of this video. Here we have our assortment of feeders, and we like to dust our feeders, especially for the hognoses, but really for everything. This is Arcadia Earth Pro A. And then over to the side here, you can see that we have chicken liver. We have a mixture of chicken hearts and chicken liver, chicken hearts. Then we have sockeye salmon and just salmon, and then we have sardines. We're gonna be trying to scent some of the pinkies for the problem feeders, and if not, we'll actually give them chunks of whatever item they choose to eat. First up is going to be our beautiful Kalea here.
Oh God, wash your hands.
For her second course, we got a mouse. Good lord. Wasting no time. Next up, we have Cardinal, the Oreocryptophis porphyraceus coxi, otherwise known as a Thai bamboo rat snake. What's fascinating about these species is they love cool temperatures. The maximum temperature for these guys is like 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and they prefer like in the 60s. They will eat, they'll be active. It's so cool to see. Bigger than you. And it's gone. Now it's time for my beautiful Savu Python Ender. This is Liasis savuensis.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
You messed up. Oh, boy. Oh. There we go. I came in like a ringing moon. I guess we're stuck here now. Alright, he typically waits with his meal for a while, so we fed him. So this is one of our second clutch of Boega. Bree's assist feeding these guys. This is the last individual from the clutch that we have, our second clutch. Bree assist feeds them full pinkies from hatching. He's like, no.
She's more picky.
But you can see it's been pinky mice from the get-go. We didn't do any mouse tails or what else do people feed? Mouse arms, feet, anything like that. It's been full pinkies, and you can definitely tell the growth on them. We're not just sustaining them, they are truly getting like a full meal. But we're gonna slide her back in there because we don't want to disturb her. She has it in her mouth. And we can move on to the next one. The other baby boyga that we have, we're not going to be feeding her in this video because all we do is open the bin, leave her mouse, and then leave it. We're now moving on to the baby hognoses that we have. This is Cider. These first three will be all holdbacks. Cider doesn't typically eat. She's not taking the pinky in this one, so we're going to try a piece of liver.
Oh, you... Okay.
There we go. And that's why patience is a virtue with the hognose.
You're just gonna...
Now we're gonna try and choo-choo train.
There you go.
Hey, choo-choo. You got suckered into it, nerd. This is one of our very unique holdback hognoses from 2023.
It's over here. Oh, God.
Run.
Look.
Oh, food. Won't eat in the bin, but...
Sometimes you have to show them the food.
How do you guys live in the wild? I really don't understand. Thankfully, toads are stupider than we are.
All right, now that you're done having a mental breakdown.
Next up, we have the Moonstone, which we do still need names for if you guys are interested in providing some recommendations. She has had her first, like, growth shed as well. And obviously is a very good eater.
Let go of the... Thank you.
I remember you dreaming of these when we first got into hognoses. You were like, this is the goal. Now, this one was actually sold on Morph Market to Bobby. Another great eater for us.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, did you just hiss out of pure frustration? I'm mad. Can't get it in my mouth.
Fantastic. Now moving forward, now this is a Moon Dust, who is actually still available if anybody's interested. Check our Morph Market link down below. We'll hopefully have him on the website soon if he doesn't sell there. Still an incredible looking snake.
He hasn't shed yet.
He hasn't had his growth shed yet?
No, so he's gonna get even nicer.
This is our incredible female twin spot triple het for albino frosted, as you guys can kind of see on screen there. And as you can see, eating very well. So I didn't want to film it because I didn't want to shove the camera in his face, but this one has been a problem eater for us, and we actually just fed it a unscented pinky head for the first time since June. You can tell how much smaller this one is versus the one we just fed right above it. One that's been eating regularly, and one that hasn't. What I might actually do is make a separate video for like troubleshooting hognose feeding. I know that Bree certainly could have used that video when she first started. If she's not willing to be in the video, then I will certainly take her pointers and give her credit where credit is due. But let me know in the comments down below if that's something that you're interested in. For now, we're resorting to sardines for the last few hognoses that haven't eaten since June. So we're just gonna try and give them straight up sardine and see if they take it. I'm gonna be very unintrusive with this filming because they are so sensitive and so silly.
Oh.
No way.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's a really good feeding response too.
That's awesome. We're gonna try and choo-choo train a pinky head. We're also gonna scent it in the sardine and just see if he goes for it. Oh, rage.
You try it?
Rage.
Nope.
Bree now knows that after they give that kind of response where they just freak out and run away, that there's not really much chance they're gonna eat. So we're just going straight back to the sardine.
Don't do that. Don't do whatever you're just doing. Here you go. Eat that.
There. Yes.
Eat it. There you go.
Nice.
He likes the sardine.
He does like sardine. We aren't trying to choo-choo train this one, but it is very scented with the sardine, so we're hoping yes.
Yay. Good job, bud.
Eating anything on their own, as Bree said, is much better than force feeding. We actually did, one of the tricks that Bree does is actually put them into brumation for a couple weeks. We get them down to like 60 degrees, not quite a full brumation, for about 2 weeks, and then we pull them out, and this is the result. That's all for him. In an effort to not disturb them, watch how slowly Bree is pushing this bin back. You can tell it's moving. All about the finesse, ladies and gentlemen. That baby we offered the variety of different foods to didn't end up taking anything. So what Bree does is she puts them on a deli lid, and then puts basically everything on there, and then we just leave it in their enclosure overnight, and we come back and we know that this is exactly what we put in there, so if anything's gone, it did end up eating. That actually wraps up our filming for today. So I want to thank you guys all very much for watching this Feed All My Pets. If you guys have any questions about anything, any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave them in the comment section. I do reply to every single comment. If you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know. I'd be happy to make some more videos like this for you guys. Of course, if you like the video, drop a like down below. If you guys enjoy these style of videos and you want to see more reptile / amphibian content in the future, make sure you click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.